All right, everybody, what is going on? Didn't I just put out a video like an hour ago going over like this producer's letter? Well, maybe I should have been a bit more patient. Well, here we go. We've got animations and info in game, and of course, I've got calcs done already. So we're gonna take a look at those here in just a second. But first, I haven't actually watched the animations yet, so we're gonna watch this. Oh, it's a little big. Let's just do. Can I do this? There we go. Let's do this. We'll watch the animations, and we'll go from there.
Right now it's snack time! Don't want them to get hurt! I'll give you everything I have! This is the end for you!
All right, there we go. Let me just mute that just to make sure we don't do we don't have some crazy sound play here in a second. Okay, there we go. So yeah, I mean, there's her animations. I think in 2x speed, those are gonna look pretty good. I mean, it reminds me just like literally the fighters animation style is what it reminds me of. So we'll see. Whenever it happens, but yeah, I think that's gonna look pretty good in 2x speed. There are a couple shots in there. I don't know if y'all noticed, but listen, people are gonna be screenshotting some frames in there. I'm sure you guys saw a couple of them in there, but anyway, let's talk about her. Okay, so I obviously have already looked at her info because I've already done, defensive calcs at this point. But let's, go through it. We'll talk about it. Global Dokkan did post the, same time. So that's good. We hate it whenever it's like, oh, it's the same time released. And then Global Dokkan's just like, yeah, we'll release the info on our own time. And they either release it like 2 hours early or 5 hours late. There is no in between. But here recently, listen, they've been getting it at the same time. So here we go. Android 21 transformed evil is the banner unit. We saw her animations at the beginning. Leader skill doesn't really matter, but notice right here, she greatly raises attack and defense for 4 turns. That should be a 50% raise, and this means that it's going to be stacking. You can have 2 instances of it up at a time, or well, let me rephrase. You can carry it over to a second rotation. So like if any super attacks you do on one turn, she'll carry over onto her next rotation, even if you float her off, which is really nice. That means you can probably pretty safely run her in slot 3 and just kind of float her around and keep her defense going, which will be really good. I guess one thing to say, I guess she'll be weakest on like her first turn, but then after that, she'll kind of just settle in a little bit. Let's go ahead and look at her passive here. So, guys, I know this is tiny. Let me see if I can open this in a new tab here and zoom in a little bit. Well, there we go. Kinda. Okay, so activates entrance animation upon the character's entry once only. Attack and defense 120% at the start of turn, and great chance of launching an additional super attack for 4 turns from the character's entry turn, and high chance of launching an additional super starting from the 5th turn from the character's entry turn. So, what this is saying, right, is that they understand that her weakest turn is going to be her first turn, so they're giving her a little bit of extra start of turn stats to make her a little bit more powerful at the start of turn, and you'll get to keep this for 4 turns, so 2 rotations, you'll have this up. That's whenever she'll be at her best, so that's pretty good, and she gets the additional super attack. I mean, it's a great chance. We don't really like that, but with the greatly raised, that should, work out well, as long as you can keep those stacks up. That'll be nice. And then it just goes down to a high chance, but you do lose the 120% starting from her 5th turn, so We'll see how that ends up playing out in game. She gets key 3 and 210% at the start of turn, just for free, which is really nice. Getting that extra key is really good. She gets an additional 90% when attacking. She reduces damage received by 21% when facing one enemy. That's pretty good. A lot of one enemy fights right now. High chance performing a critical hit when facing 2 or more enemies. This will probably be pretty pointless, but in the new event that they're dropping, it might be pretty good, so we'll see. Performs a critical hit if HP is 60% or less at the start of turn, or if the target enemy's HP is 30% or less when attacking. Recovers 30% HP with each final blow delivered, and then recovers HP with candy. So, overall, like, not the craziest ever. And then our links down here: Metamorphosis, Android Assault, Big Bad Bosses, Shocking Speed, Battlefield Diva, Fierce Battle, Fear and Faith. Kind of odd that they have these switched, but whatever. What I'm going to say about her, and kind of like the other Android 21 units, just going to get that out of the way right now. They have a pretty good link set, and their defense their defensive capabilities are really going to depend on, one, you guys got to get these characters link leveled. I mean, Metamorphosis, Big Bad Bosses, Android Assault, Shocking Speed, like this core of links, you guys got to get those link leveled, okay? Like these are very, very, very important to these units' success. And that's kind of what I'm getting at here, is like how easily you can get these links active will determine kind of how good they can be defensively. If you're just like running in here raw and you don't have like any of these active, it's going to be a completely different unit than if you have like all 4 of these active. So just keep that in mind if you're summoning for these units, that like this core 4 links right here, you're going to want active on all of these characters. So let's go ahead and look at our calcs here. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here. I had it zoomed out while I was doing calcs, so this should be good enough for you guys to see, right? Yeah. Okay, so right here, this is the Android 21 banner unit, right? We have on this side, this is just straight up, and then on this side, this is with 40% support. I kind of was a little bit lazy with it. I just kind of calculated essentially like their first turn. You'll kind of have to piece this together yourself, but this is their defensive stat right here, 10,101. If we take a look right here, or no, sorry, not on that one. If we take a look right here, we can see their defensive stat is 5501, and they are a physical character. For physical characters, you add in 4600 for 100%, and then 2000, of course, for every unit at 55%. So this is their defensive stat. They are on a 200%. They do have 200% leader skills, so multiply by 5 for that. Links, I just went ahead and included all of them. So we have 60% active right here. If I go back to, where is it? You guys can't see it, but right here, Metamorphosis should be 10%, Android Assault is 20, Big Bad Bosses is 25, and Shocking Speed is 5. Just as reference, here's like the old Android 21. There's Android Assault 20%, Metamorphosis 10%, where was it? Big Bad Bosses 25%, and then Shocking Speed is 5. It's not on here, but trust me, it's 5. So those add up, 20, 10, 25, and 5 add up to 60. So I just went ahead and assumed for these calcs, all 60% is active right here. So this is the buff you'll be getting, for links, is you just multiply by 1.6. You guys can actually see the formula in these, so you can kind of follow along and see what I'm talking about here. So at the start of turn, with the intro buff active, we are at 330% attack and defense, right? If we go back over to here, we can see, I know it's tiny, but right here, 120% from the intro, and then right here, 210%, add those together, that's 330. So that's what we have active right here. To get the multiplier for that, it's 4.3. Because if you notice, we're adding a 1 to all of these. That 1 is including the original value. Like, for instance, if we just multiplied 10,101 and by like 400%, we would get like, 40,404. But that's just the increase that we're getting from the leader skill, right? We have to then include the original defensive value, which is, 5505. Is the total, right? Because we just add the 1 here. And so then for the links, like say, it's easier probably to explain with the links, right? So the links, we're getting an increase of 60% to our stats. So we're taking 60% of 50,505, which is like, 30,303. And then we're adding those two together, and that gets us the 80,808. This is kind of like interesting, right? How these stats all work out, just like the numbers that we're seeing here. And just keep in mind too with my calcs, I'm very lazy and I don't include like a round down formula in them. So if there's any decimals hidden in anywhere in here, it could cause like the final result to be off by a little bit, but it's not going to matter at the end of the day, really. So anyway, this is what they'll be at the start of turn right here, and you can see with 40% support, they'll be up just a little bit higher. Because all of their stats are at the start of turn, support's not really going to help too much, but as you start getting these stacks in, that's where you're going to start feeling the effect of the support probably. So with just one super attack, they're going to be up to 521,000 defense, and then with every additional attack that they do, they add in an extra 173, 737, at least in this scenario. So, again, the way we calculated this is we took the start of turn buff, we multiplied it by 1.5 because we saw right here she's getting a greatly raised attack and defense for 4 turns. That's a 50% raise. So we're getting that right here. And then for each additional that we do, on top of that, we're getting an extra 173, 737. So just like hypothetically, let's say we do 3 additional super attacks, right? So we take this number, yeah, we'll just say we do like 3 additional super attacks, right? We're getting an extra. Wow, it actually works out to be the same number. But essentially, we'll, I guess, be doubling our defense at that point. So, anyway, she can get up to some pretty good defense, is what we're getting at here. It's just going to be dependent on how many additionals you get. Luckily, she seems to have some built into her passive. How I would build this unit. Since she has physical, that means she's going to be predisposed to getting like more additional in her kit. Like she's going to get a free 5. I would probably go 15 dodge, and then I would go probably 8 additional, 3 crit, and then I would just probably pump in some additional and dodge equips into there to maybe try to even her out around like 20 additional, 20 dodge, maybe try to get her around there. Or maybe like, since she already has like the additionals, maybe go some crit. I don't know that there's a bad way, but I think you're definitely going to want some dodge because I think most of the time her defense is going to be probably in like the tanking normal range, but not tanking super range. And you are going to want her around in order to, get some of these links active for the new Android 21. So, it's like she does have some crit built into her passive as well, depending on what your HP is and like what the enemy's HP is, stuff like that. So, maybe just focus on additional because I think the most important thing for her is going to be these attack stats, but I don't know that it's going to give you enough defense to tank super attacks, which is where dodge could come in handy. So I don't know that there's a wrong build for her, but you guys let me know what you think. I just going dodge on units these days is just very safe, especially whenever she already has like built-in additionals. That means she's going to be predisposed to getting her additional more often. If you guys don't know, every time you do an additional attack or like a counter, it counts towards like re-rolling your hidden potential additional attack. So like on normal units, you do one attack. That attack has a chance to proc your additional, and if you don't get it, like that's it. But on like an additional unit, it'll say like, okay, here's our first attack on the turn. We're going to roll our additional. Okay, we didn't get it. Okay, but we're doing an additional. So we're going to roll our hidden potential again. And then maybe we get it there. And then boom, we get it, right? So the more attacks you're doing, the more chances you have to roll your hidden potential. So it means that like, it's kind of like you flip a coin. If you flip 1 coin, you have a 50% chance to get heads or tails. But if you flip 2 coins, your chance of getting like your desired outcome increases. So anyway, that's the banner unit, Android 21. Again, these are her stats. And then down here, this is after her intro wears off. So if you're wondering what this second section is down here, the only difference is without the intro right here. So we lose that extra 120% that we get for 4 turns. And so this is kind of what her defense falls down to. And this is where dodge is really going to help her out because it's just going to take a ton of like edge off of her defense. Like by that point, you'll probably have a couple stacks of this going. So maybe you'll be up around 500k defense still, and then you'll increase it by about 125 per additional that you do on each turn. But you guys gotta kind of see the picture here. It's like without that extra 120%, her defense starts falling off tremendously. So again, another reason to just kind of consider dodge on your units here. You guys can kind of already see the normal 21 calcs down here. I'm going to go ahead and scroll. You can take a look at those if you want, and if that's all you're interested in. But I am going to go ahead and move on to Android 21 normal right here. So right here, Her leader skill is Androids, Majin Power, or Peppy Gal's Key 3 170%, additional 30% to Power Absorption, Transformation Boost, or Crossover. Interesting leader skill, to say the least. So we'll see how this ends up playing out in game. I believe this gets Super Boo his 200% leader skill finally, so that's nice. Link skills are Brainiacs, Metamorphosis, Android Assault, Shocking Speed, Battlefield Diva, Scientist, and Fierce Battle. Overall, this is a pretty decent Link set. Again, you're going to want to try to get this like Brainiacs, Metamorphosis, Android Assault, Shocking Speed combo activated. Good news, she has a Peppy Gal's leader, so you can bring Bulma. Metamorphosis, you can get active with the other androids. I'm sure you'll have other androids since she's a leader, so Android Assault should be pretty easy. Same with Shocking Speed, so that should help her out there. I don't know if you're going to be able to get Scientist active. I don't think STR Bulma has Scientist. Does she? If she does, I mean, that's going to be like a huge game changer. Let me check the cards. Does Bulma have Scientist? I don't think she does, but does she? Brainiacs. No. Okay, no Scientists. Yeah. I did not include Scientist in my calcs for her links. So I only included Brainiacs, which is 15%, Metamorphosis, which is 10, Android Assault, which is 20, and then Shocking Speed, which is 5. So what is that? 50% total for her links there in my calcs. This team, I think, will be okay. I think I can build it real quick on here. If we go to categories, maybe? No, what is it? It's tools, that's right. 200% leader skill tool. Okay, so we want to add category. We want androids, right? We want androids, Majin Power, and Peppy Gals. So there we go. Androids. Where's Majin Power? Peppy Gals. Where are you? Where are you? Peppy Gals. P. Peppy Gals. There we go. And then extra categories were crossover. Power Absorption and Transformation Boost. Power Absorption, Transformation Boost. Okay, so here we go. Let's add the category and search. And so this is her 200% leader skill. Super Boo, of course, is on it. Dude, could you imagine if they easy-aid Super 17 during the celebration? Another team for Int Cell. This could be good. Toa, Lags, you... is Mira on here? Yeah, Mira's on here. Mira's pretty decent. I believe he just needs, like, what is it, one crossover category on the team? Where's his EZA? Here we go. Launches an additional super deck when all or Dragon Ball Heroes, man. If that was just like a crossover enemy or character or crossover ally, that would help this guy out. But I think he could still be maybe effective on this team depending on the fight. Super 17's on here. Kid Boo's on here. I mean, this is looking like a pretty decent team. Toa's on here. I mean, she's a dodge or die character, but, she could be decent on here. Ribrianne's on here. STR Super Boo. Okay, so we've got some characters on here. AGL Super 17 is still kind of okay. These guys are kind of okay. So, I mean, this isn't like a worthless leader skill. It's definitely a leader skill that could use some help, but it's not like the worst we've seen. I don't know if I would want to run this team, but I'm sure you could get like a no item done against like Fusion Zamasu, maybe. Maybe. Well, maybe. Maybe. If her EZA is, like, really good, maybe. This is the global version. I think, like, Ribrianne, Kakunsa, and Rosie would be on here, right? So, maybe you could get it done. Anyway, back over here. Her passive skill, 150% attack and defense at the start of turn. All allies key +2. She gets 120% when attacking and a high chance of evading enemy attacks within the same turn. I assume as that you attack. So I assume she doesn't get her chance to dodge until she attacks, which is kind of unfortunate. She gets additional 2 key and 60% attack for 3 turns after evading an attack. Launches an additional attack that's a high chance of becoming a super attack. Launches another additional attack that's a great chance of becoming a super attack, starting from the turn in which the character performs the 3rd attack in battle. Disables the attacked enemy's action once within the turn when the character performs the 6th attack in battle. And great chance of performing a critical hit starting from the character's next attack. Whew, that's a long way of saying she does a lot of additionals. That's the long way of saying that. So if we go ahead and look right here, ignore this. This is the good 21, but like right up here, this is normal 21, and then this is her with 40% support. So again, 12,913 is going to be her defense stat. We can see right here 7513 is her stat at 0%, and then AGL units get 5400 for being at 100%, and then 2000 for 55%. I mean, that's all units get 2000. So 200% leader skill, her own right. I went ahead and just assumed all of her defensive links except for scientist. I think scientist is a defensive link. I didn't include that because I don't know who you're getting. You getting Dr. Wheelo on this team? I didn't see. Is he on this team? You can get scientist with him if you can figure out a way to get him on there. So anyway, she gets 150% at the start of turn. She gets 120% when attacking. That's a multiplicative buff. And then she gets 30% on super attack, and then she's going to get an additional like 159, 798 per additional. That's just the difference between these two numbers right here. So every time she super attacks, she's going to essentially be getting about another 160 if you don't have any support active. If you have 40% support, she's going to be getting an extra 185. You can see support's really going to start helping her out in her, like on this character, because she does have this multiplicative buff. So the higher that you make this base, it gives you more to multiply onto or off of, however you want to put that. So, with a couple super attacks, she's going to be looking kind of pretty decent defensively. Bulma is on her team, which is going to help. You're going to have like a constant 37% support up. So if they make like, Int 21, the free-to-play unit, pretty decent, you could have quite a bit of support running around on this team, and it could end up being pretty, decent for you, and it'll help boost these stats up quite a bit. So, she's going to be kind of weak here in her base form. I mean, definitely start a turn 242 is not very good. 280 is not very good either. But, once you can get her to transform, she's going to be looking pretty good. I mean, as you can see down here, right, you start seeing these 1 million numbers, and everybody's going to start going crazy. But we got to finish talking about her first. So let's go back over. So her transformation condition is an active skill, can be activated when facing only one enemy starting from the 5th turn from the start of turn. If you guys watch my other Android 21 video, you know that this is kind of what I was worried about, where it's like she's okay until she transforms, but after she transforms, she's going to be really good, maybe win the fight, kind of like Super Trunks, where it's like, she's a little bit iffy, but if we can just get her to transform, we'll be solid. That's the same sort of vibes I get here from 21. Is like, 5th turn is pretty deep into these fights at this point, so it's like I don't know that you're wrapping up on turn 5, but you're definitely not in the heart of the battle anymore on turn 5. So it's not a bad condition, but it's just one of those conditions that's like, oh man, it's just if this was just one turn sooner, I think it would be a lot better, or maybe even 2 turns. Like turn 3, you could do this. I think that'd be great, but yeah, I don't know. You guys let me know what you think about this condition. I think it's fine, but I think this is just going to be another one of these units where it's like we are just struggling to survive until turn 5. But we'll see. I'd love to be proven wrong. And then this is her super attack. She's attacking defense 1 turn, 30%, and then high chance of stunning. So anyway, yeah, that's what her defense is looking like right here. Again, you get some support around her, and it's going to start looking, pretty good, especially if she starts getting some additionals off. Like, what is it, 3 super attacks, basically, and you're going to be over 1 million defense. I mean, 2, you're at, like, what is this, 988, so... 3 super attacks, you're well over 1 million defense with some damage reduction. It could be pretty... She does have damage reduction in this form, right? Like 21% or something? Or am I making that up? Or is that after she transforms? That's after she transforms. Okay. Well, still, it's able to survive normals, but, Okay, so anyway, after she transforms, let's go ahead and click on this. Her super attack stays the same. She might, like, I don't know, her... in terms of her attack and defense, it stays the same. She recovers 30% HP once only. I mean, that's good, right? Like a mid-battle heal is helpful. So that's nice. 210% at the start of turn. She keeps the all allies key +2, which is nice. She gets an additional 2 key and 121% when attacking. Again, that's a multiplicative buff, so that's nice. Yeah, this is that damage reduction I was talking about. 21% damage reduction, an additional 60% defense within the same turn after receiving an attack. Launches 2 additional attacks, each of which has a great chance of becoming a super attack. Recovers 21% HP when HP is 60% or less at the start of turn. So not too bad. And then she also gains big bad bosses. So now she has 15%, 10%, 20%, 25%, 5% for a total, I believe, of 75. Is that 75? 15, 10 is 25. This is 25 and this is 25. So yeah, 75% defense in links. Again, this is what I'm talking about. Like if you can get this core set of links active for her, it's going to dramatically like affect her performance. Yeah, so yeah, I guess she loses the stun chance on her super attack. Whatever, man. Can be activated when facing one enemy, starting from the next attacking turn. Massively raises attack temporarily. Ultimate damage to the enemy disables enemy action within the turn. And attacks effective against all types. Okay, I mean, this is good. This is a good active skill effect, but that means that, like, the earliest you can use this is on turn 7. Like, this is just going to be like a finisher, basically. Like, if the enemy is still alive and you're able to use this, it's basically just going to be a finisher. So, yeah, we'll see if you ever end up seeing this in game. Maybe, we'll see. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at her stats, or her calcs, or whatever. So right down here. So again, defense stat doesn't change. Leader skill doesn't change. Links do change here, though. Now we're getting 75%, so you can see this jumps up quite a bit. And now we're at 210% at the start of turn, which also, you know, jumps us up quite a bit. And then we get 121% when attacking and 60% when hit. Those two will add together. So after they're both active, we'll jump up to 984,000. And then you get 30% per super attack that we do, and then we also have the 21% damage reduction. So you can see, once we, you know, get hit and get an attack in, her defense is really jumping up in her transform state. I saw some people, like, underrating, like, the good 21, and I think it's just because they don't understand, like, what's going on here. It's like, yeah, at the start of turn, she's still looking a little bit sus, but by turn 5, you should be out of most AoE fights, except for maybe Omega, which you would want to transform to anyway. Just saying, like, you know, 350 is what she'll be at the start of turn. This is what she'll be at after receiving a hit, is 560, 424. So I can just go ahead and copy this across, and we can see all these numbers. So again, this is like what she would be after just receiving a hit. Again, with 21% damage reduction is going to be pretty good. So, and plus she's AGL, which means she'll have type advantage over STR Omega, which is probably the scarier part of that like fight anyway. So that'll actually be really helpful. So this may not look super impressive, but, you know, as long as she's not getting, like, supered in slot 1, you should be okay. And even then, type advantage, damage reduction, it's not going to be too bad. And Merge Zamasu, you should be out of Int Zamasu by turn 5, so I don't know that this is really going to be an issue. And then after she attacks, she's great. So, like, against physical Zamasu, she's probably going to be a pretty good option. It's just going to be a matter of, can you survive against Int Zamasu in her normal 21 state long enough to get to physical Zamasu. So, anyway, there we go. That is defensive calcs and breakdowns for the new units and their animations. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you are excited for the Android 21 Fighter Z crossover. I believe that's all we have at the moment. I'll double check real quick, and then I'll do an official sign out. Yep, that's all that's available at the moment, at least as of me recording this video. As always, I do have the calcs on Twitter. They're in a nice thread here, so if you want to reference these at any time, I have them here. I'll link this tweet thread in the description below, but, you know, be sure to follow me on Twitter. You can see it there before the video even goes live. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate all of you guys. Again, let me know if you're summoning. Let me know if you're skipping. Let me know if you're excited. Let me know what you think about these guys or gals. And, yep, I'll catch you guys next time.